Alright, welcome back. This is part 2 of maybe 3, where we are going to build missions in Wurm. So last time I showed you how to build simple missions, like, I don't know, step on a tile and something spawns, or examine something and something else happens. We did do some monster spawns. I think it was a wildcat. And yeah, today we are going to do a layered quest. So many thanks for the community member Emma Grace for showing me the ropes when it comes to quests. So this is part my knowledge, part her knowledge, just passing it on, making a video from it. But yeah, Emma showed me around, so credits due. Right, so let's go do a real tutorial quest. Like, for example, you've got a spawn area or a newbie area or something like that. You want to do that so it looks a little bit more lively. Maybe have an NPC greet the player, or have many NPCs. So I'm just going to summon myself an NPC. Let's see if that is actually possible here. NPC human. This is I think a vanilla NPC human who's walking around as well. So let's see here. Yeah. Those, I think those talk, and those also wander around. So if you don't want to use those NPCs, I strongly recommend MFX custom NPCs. I'll link to that in the description, where you get NPCs that don't walk around and don't talk in local. But for this, since this is a local machine, I'll use just the normal game NPCs. So let's go ahead and do it again and just give them a name. NPC human. I mean, it could be anything. It could be a guard or something like that. What the fuck is Joe the Stoop? NPC human. And Farmer Joe. There he is. Maybe I'll do a fence around him, just so he doesn't run away. No, you come here. So NPCs in base game are actually just animals, I think. Let's see. Alright. Hopefully Joe cannot run away. Guards can pass through fences, the ghost guards, but I think we're safe here. So let's just go ahead and try it out. We are going to create a new mission, and we are selecting Farmer Joe here as our target. So we're going to manage missions. There's a fence in the way. Okay. So manage missions. Create a new missions. This is going to be a farming tutorial mission. So think back. Maybe new player for Wurm doesn't know how farming works, or maybe you want to make a mission where you can help in your NPC village and maybe get some money for it, so like you can do it as a daily mission, something like that. Alright, so we are calling that learn to farm. And there's I don't know if there's an introduction text yet. It's all as we go. All right. For the ones, if you want to play along at home, if you want to make a time-based mission, you say new chance of fail, and you say max time is 1 day. So if somebody starts the mission, or practically you make the mission and you build it so that you never reach 100%, then it will automatically fail after 1 day, and then it can be restarted. But of course you can always do your mission rewards on any mission effect that you want. So remember, mission effect. You can give skills, you can give items, and you can also give money. And then the mission just fails itself after 1 day and it can be restarted. So that's how you can build daily missions. Maybe we'll do that with that in mind. Otherwise, if it would be a tutorial mission, you don't let it fail and you don't give it a new chance of fail. And also no restart when finished. So it's a one-time thing. Then you need to make sure that players can actually reach the 100% stage of a mission, because a mission is only finished when it reaches 100%. So you can refer to the previous video to see how that works. Okay, so we are creating a new mission. It shall be a daily mission. Okay, there it is. And then we create a new trigger. And since this is an NPC, Farmer Joe at this current tile, that's why it's important that the NPCs don't wander, because if he wanders away, the tile data is not correct anymore. No item, and we are using talk. And normally the option talk never appears on players, right? But if a mission has it, then you can talk to NPCs. I don't know if it works for other creatures, but I think so, because the Lady of a Lake is just a statue and the Cobra King. So take from it what you want. Try it with a gravestone and give it the action perform talk. Maybe that works. And we are triggering the mission learn to farm. And we're triggering it from 0. So this is the beginning trigger. Create a new trigger. Oh yeah, we need a name for that. I name T start strat, yeah, start. T for trigger and start. Okay, create that trigger. Okay, now that trigger has no effect, so it would just trigger the mission. So technically you could give it a mission pop-up. We'll go up over that. But yeah, I'll create a new effect for now. And this is E start. So it belongs to the trigger. And it has a pop-up and it says, hello. Are you new around town? Do you want to learn how to farm? Okay. Take these seeds and look for the fenced in area outside. Saw those seeds, Sue, the seeds. Or sow would be a sow. My English is not the best, so excuse me. Sow the seeds and then return to me afterwards. So this is going to be a fairly complex mission. Don't know how long that will take, but it will take you through the entire process of making a prolonged mission with multiple stages. So yeah, that's that. Return and talk to me. That's important afterwards. Okay. So we have that effect. It is mission state affected. Learn to farm. And it will usher this mission to, when the trigger plays it, it will automatically go to 1% because the mission is started. So if you want to keep it at 1%, from Elder Scrolls modding, I have taken percentages of tens. So I'll do that over here as well. So we need to bring the mission to 10%. So we need to change it to 9. Because it's already at 1% when the mission is started. Alright, and we create that effect. And we linked it to T-start. Okay. Then we update the effect, and now we are here back in the trigger. We update the trigger, and now we are back in the mission. Alright, so we can test that. Now if I right click him, I can see the talk option. So that's only there because we've got a mission on him. Could work for a gravestone, right? Oh, and of course, we need to show the effects again. if we are to sow some seeds, maybe we need some seeds, right? So we need a reward item, and let's see if there are some seeds here. Do we want to have pumpkins? Let's say pumpkin seed. And we will be giving the players 3 because the rule is 3, right? And that's that. Only the seeds. Okay, update the effect. Alright, let's test it out. Let's talk to our farmer Joe. Bam. Hello. Are you new around town? You want to learn how to farm? Take these seeds and look for a fenced area outside, see the seeds, and then return and talk to me afterwards. Okay. Thing is, I didn't get any seeds. Alright. Let me check again. Manage missions. Effects, E-start, pop up an item. Pumpkin seed. Oh, quality 3. Yeah, that's a problem. You should read that. So 3 seeds with the quality. I don't know. What's a good quality for seed? 20. Update that effect. And of course now we are stuck here, right? Because we already started the mission. It is at 10%, so that is good. And that is one very nice point about missions. Like, now we stuck ourselves into the mission, right? No, we didn't. I'll just take my mission ruler here, or my wand. I'm gonna pack this. And then I'll go to the mission ruler and say manage missions, list missions, learn to farm, and then I'll set it to restart when finished and update the mission. Right? And then I'll have manage missions, do a new trigger, maybe T start, and just clone that, and I'll call that T restart. Right? And on step on action on that packed dirt, trigger the mission learn to farm, and trigger state any, so 0 to 99, create a trigger, create a new effect, and this effect will bring the mission learn to farm. It will give it plus 100%, so it will insta finish it. And I'll just call a pop up here with both restart and text. Alright, and E restart. So what I did was basically make a trigger here that has an effect that immediately finishes the mission, and because I set it to be restartable, now we can at any time walk on this tile here and restart this mission, basically finish it and then talk to the NPC again. So that is a very good tool to make yourself if you are building a mission, just so you can restart it at any time when you get stuck or you are testing or something like that. See, now this mission is done, and since it's restartable, I can go back in here, talk to Farmer Joe. Are you new around town? Yes, apparently. And now we've got our pumpkin seeds. Alright. So, when building missions, it is very important to give the player enough info as to where to build stuff. So I've told the player right now to go to the fenced off area, and just for overview purposes here, I'm gonna build one so we all know which tiles I'm talking about, right? So I'll leave that open. So this is a little bit how you're doing, but you know, it's all improv when you're building your own missions. There you go. Alright, now we've got these 3 fields here, right? And we've got 3 seeds, so they are supposed to be planted in here. The dirt is already cultivated. If it's not cultivated, you need to either give your player a shovel and tell them to cultivate the dirt first, or yeah, prepare the area otherwise. You can have multiple effects. Maybe you want to know that. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pack this here. Alright, so now this is practically not usable to sow seeds. So we'll have to go back to the missions of Farmer Joe. List triggers, there's T-start. And there's the E-start effect, which gives us the seeds. But with every effect you can always give one item. So we just create a new effect and we call it E-start rake, because I want to give him a rake, the player. So quality 20, 1. Now we need to look for that item. Iron rake. There we go. No mission state affected, nothing, no pop-up, just the item. So that's very nice about that. And of course we link that to T-start. Link that. And then we update the effect. Alright. So you see there's E-start rake and it gives an item. Also we need to edit our previous pop-up and say, if you find the lands barren, now fourth wall breaking is your decision. Activate your rake and cultivate the tiles prior to seeding. Right? And you can also mark text in here and copy and paste, but be careful, do not use the enter key while in these pop-ups, because that will just close it and you'll lose all progress. So then, right, so now I would do a new line, but I need to just do what I can. Return and talk to me afterwards. Alright, so we got that. Okay, updated that effect. Now practically we gave the player also the possibility to, if the field is not usable because either another player did the quest or somebody paved it over because they are an asshole, something like that, now the player can actually prepare those fields, right? Okay, so we update this trigger, and of course, because we are in the mission, I'm gonna go to my reset field. Boom, restart. And we talk to them again. Alright, now we got a rake. Okay. Now, we take our mission ruler. I want to write it on the packed dirt. How that works. So let's see, we are going to create a new trigger here, and we are going to say so, right, and this will trigger the mission learn to farm, and it will trigger it from, we are at 10%, so it will trigger it from 10. And now it's important because you don't know the order of the fields the player will do, so it's important to say, okay, this triggers the mission from somewhere, but what is the percentage of the mission progress afterwards, right? So now we've got 3 fields, which is a little bit meh to do, so we cannot go 10% because it will be 3.3%. That was meh, so we'll just go 4% per field. So let's say that's 12, and 10 plus 12 is 22. But you cannot trigger to 22 because then a player could sow more seeds, right? So it is 3 fields. It will trigger from 10 to 14, and the second field will bring up the mission to 18. So you need to have this effect triggered from 10 to 18. And this is now, I'll call that T sow 1, because it is this field here. Right? So if we do the sow action on this field, it should trigger the mission. But this is just a trigger. Always remember, the trigger is not going to add mission progress. This is just in the area in which it can trigger. So if I would sow something in this field before talking to Farmer Joe here, I would just not get any mission progress because it's earlier than the 10% stage. Or if I do it later, it's after the 18% stage. So you always have to kind of keep a mind map inside your head and visualize where you are in the mission state and how you want to do it. For me, it helps to draw along. So what I'm going to do is to make some image files, which I'll put just on top of the video here, and you can see where we are in the mission and how the player can trigger it. Alright, so that's 1018, and we are going to create a new effect for that. And the good thing is this effect will just alleviate the mission progress, so we can use this effect on all 3 triggers, which is good. Sowing, I'll call that, and it will affect the mission. Learn to farm, learn to fram, okay, and it'll alleviate it by 4%. So normally I'll do sounds in my missions, but I don't want to annoy you with the soundboard here. There is nice sounds that can be used as a quest progress. Just to show you one, pick break. Can we play that? Yeah, pick break is what I use most of the time. Right, so pick break, and I'll do that, and I'll select that. And this is my mission progress sound most of the time. We don't need a pop-up, just need that effect. Alright, and we'll link that effect to tsow1. Link that trigger. Update the effect. Now we are back in the trigger tsow1. And we are also updating that trigger. Cool. Now we have got that. Alright. Now, same goes for the other field. So now we have to do a trigger here. So making missions is quite the manual work here, but we can help ourselves a little bit. We go to the tsow1 trigger and say clone trigger, and it will just do all of that. And we just call it tsow2 and create that trigger. Link the effect, sowing, bam, update. Close that, don't update that, because you're now at the other target. No, back. And now we have 2 triggers here. And now we go here. It's triggers, tsow2. And we clone that trigger. And the new trigger is tsow3. And sowing is our effect. So we linked it, update, back. Okay, now we've got our 3 sowing triggers. And now I'm particularly interested in if that will work or not, because those are packed dirt tiles. And I don't know if the mission ruler goes by coordinates or by tile type, because you cannot use the sowing action on a packed dirt tile. And if we cultivate it, it's not a packed dirt tile anymore. So let's see if that works. So oh, Alright, it took a while, but it worked. As you can see, it played the sound, and our mission is now at 14%. And maybe now you can see why it is so important to keep that trigger, right? Because now you cannot say trigger at 10% because we are not at 10% anymore, right? So I need to use my rake here again. Boom. And I saw again, dude, who made these timers? So that is good. Then that means the mission ruler is coordinate based, which I didn't know prior to that, but it makes sense. I think in this case the trigger just doesn't care if what tile type it is, as long as you are sewing at that coordinate. Okay, now we've got 22%. So we should go back to Farmer Joe to talk to him. Yeah. And this trigger does not exist. So again, a little bit how you're doing, just doing it improv. You can talk to him now, but nothing happens. So this talk option always, if there's a mission on an NPC, you see the talk option. So that's a good way to identify that as a player. Okay, but now of course it's outside of the trigger, so we need to make a new trigger, and it triggers the mission learn to farm from 22 to, I don't know, 22, just, or 23, just to be sure. You can keep it at exact percentages, but yeah, keep in mind if something happens or you use decimals on your percentages, yeah. Alright, item used none, but of course again the action that we use will be talk, and it will call T farm 22 or something like that, right? The first trigger was T start. That was actually not very good practice. T farm start would be a better version. You could also do T farm after so or something like that to identify that, but try to keep it short, because the window is pretty tiny and you have only 20 characters anyway. So I'll just do my mission percentages here. Create trigger, create new effect, E farm 22. Do we need any reward item? No. But what we do want to do, and this is what I'm going to show you later, is we want to change the tiles, right? Because you are not done farming yet. To learn all the farming in Wurm or do a nice farming job quest, you also need to tend to the fields and rake in the harvest, I guess. So that means now at this point it is up to you how far you want to have the player go. So again, coming back to the principle of being at the daily mission, that wouldn't work, right? Because, you know, depending on your farm ticks, it's not doable. But if you have farm ticks like me, like one per day, then you'd probably need to make this mission a weekly mission or something like that. But then again, the reward in coin should be high enough. But you'll figure that out. For this mission, we are gonna do it all in one step. So this Farmer Joe has very magic abilities. But first, we'll give the player a pop-up that says, "Hey, well done. You pseudo seeds very neatly. Farming also involves tending the fields. I think the fields are already good for you to groom them. Go to the fields, go back to the fields, and tend them with your rake. Talk to me after you're done. Right, so you can also do this very RP back. Practically, you can, like me being German, I really like the Gothic series and Gothic 2 in particular, because in Gothic, when you go to a trainer, you spend 10 learning points and you get a skill. That's it. But they convey that in a very neat way, because if you go to a hunter and learn how to get hides from animals, you know, in a shoddy RPG, you could just, you know, you get the skills, boom, now you get the hides, right? And in Gothic, you get a little nice text from your teacher that says, yeah, if you want to skin a wolf, you better start at the belly. So cut it up at the belly and cut up the legs, and then pull on the skin in one big pull and pull it from the animal in its entirety. So they practically convey, of course, just in a short text, but convey the information how to skin an animal when you buy that skill, and that is immersion, and that it's awesome, right? So in the Wurm questing system, you can do similar things, which will be probably very much liked by your players. All right. So that means if you tell the new player or the player on your quests to sow the seeds, that then the farmer tells them, yeah, take those seeds and sow them neatly in rows with a distance to each other, like 10 centimeters or something like that. That conveys the actually picture of what the player can see on that farming tile. All right, anyway, this is gonna be the effect. Well done. Okay, and we linked that to tfarm22. You see the trigger list becomes cluttered pretty quickly, so a unified naming system for your mission is probably better. So now these are all dumb. They should be called tfarm so, tfarm so, tfarm so, tfarm start, and so on, so you can identify that mission. Okay, that's tfarm22 anyway. We update that effect, so you can learn from my mistakes. Okay, so what I'm not gonna do is talking to him right now, because I want to test something. So I'm gonna make myself a new tile here that I'm gonna pack here, and this is gonna be my test tile, because with the mission ruler you can also change fields. Now these fields wouldn't be able to be tendable in like 18 hours or so, because that's my server settings. But again, Farmer Joe has very magical powers, so he can change tiles. So let's see, this tile here is 9941408. Okay, so this is just a new mission, test tile, and may restart when finished. And it has one trigger, and this is stepping on this dirt tile here. Step 1 triggers the mission's test tile from 0 to 100. Create the trigger, and of course we need a name. Test tile or something like that. Trigger. Alright, and now we need a new effect. E-test tile. I will probably keep that inside the video, because that again is another useful tool where you can check without going into the game's base code how to change tiles. So this mission again, so you see, when working with the mission ruler, you can build your own mission helper tools, and this is another tool. So the restart tool you already know, and this is now a tool to check tiles, because you can see here we can modify tiles, and we had 994 and 1408. So 994 1408, and we say field, and now you can say data, and that is a thing. And we now need to find the data for that field. I have JD GUI open here, but I'm not sure if I'm in the right field here, because there's also field ages. So this is just 1 to 20. So we will need to figure that out a little bit. But let's see. Pumpkin was 5. So I'll just put 5 into that data here. 5. And this is just a test thing. So it will test tile, change that to 100%, and everything's fine. Make a little pop-up bing. Okay. Create that effect. Link that to the trigger, don't forget that. Test tile, link trigger, update effect, update trigger, update mission, goodbye. Alright, let's see. Bing. Alright, nothing happened. That's good. I hope I didn't alter any other tile here. We'll see. Manage missions, list effects, e-test tile. Oh, I did not set it to field though. Ah, there we go. Update that effect. Try that again. Okay, field 5 is pumpkin. That's good. So here's the list. I'll probably copy that down in the description. But yeah, you can see it here. But that of course is just age 1, right? This is just freshly sown. Alright, so we go back into our effects here. Have test tile, and now we know that there is 20 field fruits. So what happens if I put that to 25? Is that the next age stage? We'll see. Go back. Nope, that is now garlic sprouting, but untended. Okay. So what's garlic? I'll go back to the list. Garlic is the 9. It's field number 9. So I'm off a little, or there is more types. That is the problem. I'll try data 30, or was it? I think it was plus 16, but I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll have to find that out. Aha. All right. Yeah, somehow it is plus 16. Don't ask me why, but those are now sprouting pumpkins. And if we go test tile, so add 16 to that, that would be 37. Oh yeah, that's maybe because some field fruits have a longer growth time, like cotton. You can leave it on 1 more day. Okay, see, that's still pumping. Now it's pumpkin growing. So just add 16 to your preferred age, I guess. But again, build yourself this test tile tool and see what happens. So 37 plus 16 is 53. Just to test. Boom. All right. That's halfway. So I think I'm gonna go to halfway. So note that down practically. So 53 plus 16 is 69. Nice. So 69 should be the almost ripe stage then. Yep. We could also go almost ripe. Yeah. Depends on you how you want to build the mission, right? I'm just showing you the tool. Effects, test tiles, All right, and this is then 69 plus 16 again is 57, 58. Whee. And 58 are the ripe pumpkins. So we determined it was 69. By the way, nice. So we are saying here, we're coming back to our farmer Joe. List the effects, eFarm22, right? So that is that effect. And you should keep that effect as is, but we are going to clone this effect. So we are cloning this eFarm22, and that's then the sub effect, or whatever you want to call it. For me, it's eFarm22.1, and we are modifying the tile. And while you have that window open, you can also walk around. Modify the tile. So with the ebony one, we can go there, or we can go look at the mission triggers. That is 999.14.6. So 999.14.06 is gonna be a field, and it's gonna be 69. And we are going to don't affect any missions, and the text is gonna be done away, and we're going to link that to eFarm22, and then we're gonna update that. All right, so I've got that. Now again, you can technically just copy over these effects. So we just can go at coordinates. It's 998, so it's on the x-axis. So mission ruler, manage missions, list effects. There's our sub effect, which will just do tile, you see. And we're gonna clone that and call it 2. And now, as you can see, everything else is already filled in, so it is nice. Just need to change coordinate, create that effect. Now we've got the eFarm22. You don't have to link it right now to the trigger, so we can just keep cloning. Whoops, that was a screenshot. And then again, change the coordinate, and that's all we do, create that effect. And then you can go back. As you can see, as long as you're cloning, you're opening a lot of linked windows, so that's the problem with cloning. And now we go back, and we go back, and we show our triggers, and then we've got the tFarm22, and then we link the sub triggers, that one and that one. So as you can see, maybe cloning works for you, that you clone first and link later. I like to link at once, so that I know in my head, okay, I linked that thing. But yeah, okay, now we update the trigger, and see, since I updated the trigger now, it also changed to that talk to that field. Yeah, why not, right? So we need to change that back over, but that's not a problem. Just walk to your farmer, manage missions, list triggers, see tFarm22, I did that, and then just say use current, update trigger, and now you're back to talk farmer. Okay, so we've built the quest a little bit more. The quest is currently at 22. I want to bring it up to 50, so that is something we didn't do yet. But again, generally, even if you have a plan for a quest, the idea how to make the percentages go and something like that, that most of the time changes or actually just builds while doing a quest. So take from that whatever you want. I'm gonna put that up to 50% because we are halfway done, right? So we have a state change of 28% in the Learn to Fram mission. Update the effect. Okay, and now we're ready to test. So we're sitting at 22. Gonna talk to him. Hey, well done. You sow the seeds very neatly. Farming also involves tending to the fields. Think the fields ready to good, groom them. Bam. Alright, talk to me after you're done. Cool. So that's now at 50%. What you also can do, if your player is wandering off and keeps forgetting what they need to do, you can always add another trigger. So we create a new trigger and we say talk to Farmer Joe, and it triggers from 50 to 50. So if they are in that quest stage, right, and triggers on learn to farm there, and we call it T farm 50, and then we get effect, and nothing happens on the effect except the pop-up. Oh, you are back. Did you already tend to the fields like I asked you to? Create that effect. Yeah, of course we need a name. Farm 50. And then again, you can make sure that your players or can actually reach your mission states. You technically you could link the other three effects again. So remember, we have those three effects that will bring up the fields to that level, and you can link those again here, so that the basically the fields are, so you you can link them again here to make sure the fields are at a state where the player can tend to them. That is important. Okay, so that is gonna be linked to tfarm 50. Link that trigger. Okay, update effect, update trigger, bam. And now we can talk to him and he will always tell us, hey, did you already tend to the fields? Hey, did you tend to the fields, right? So guide the player through the mission, practically. If they wander off, but they remember, there was something, let me talk to the dude again. Okay, I was going to make the fields. Again, if you start a mission and give it a mission pop-up, you will get the mission description, but this is limited to 400 characters, and I am not able, I've been asked to, but I'm not able to write a walkthrough for that mission in 400 characters. You know, like to, you talk to Farmer Joe, sow the fields, tend to the fields, and something like that, because that would take information from the quest the player not yet has. And I like to build quests where the player gets this info. Maybe you can write into this description, talk to Farmer Joe if you are unsure what to do next, or something like that. That might be actually a good way to do it, thinking about it right now, because then you can do these triggers. Did you already tend the fields like I asked you to? Because once I've tended to the field, you know, that trigger will become unavailable because I moved on with my mission state. Of course, you can also have that set to a percentage like those fields, because it is 3 fields. Maybe player is doing 2 fields and then wandering off and forgot about the 3rd field, and if he comes back, hey, you know, again, talk, then you change the message to, hey, there's still fields left to tend out there, do it again. Something like that. Maybe reset the fields again, just so it works. Okay, but what I've seen is that the fields did not change, so I have probably forgotten. We will see. Farm 21.1. Yeah, type none. I'll keep forgetting to set it to field. But that's not a problem. That's the good thing about this mission ruler. You can always come back to and edit the nitty-gritty. But again, seeing the text options, like the talk up option here on these characters, is a little something, right? Okay, that did not quite work. They're sprouting untended. Maybe I did not link those. We'll see. But yeah, a mission can go very deep and be a lot of work. So yeah, so making those messages, hey, you didn't tend to all the fields, and then resetting the fields again. It's your choice how deep you want to do this mission. But again, the more quality, the better for the player. But the more quality, the longer it will take. So we are sitting at the 1 hour mark at the time speaking on the unedited footage. So yeah, take away from that what you like. Again, go back to the triggers. We've got the T-Farm 50 here is what I need to, yeah, see, I didn't link the sub effects here because I want to link them too as well. Update trigger, because when you talk to him at 22 farming, then that's after the tending, right? And that is when the fields are originally transferred. But again, we wanted to make sure that the player, when he runs away, has the chance to still complete this mission. But again, if it's a time-based mission based on your crop ticks, you might not need to do that. All right, let's talk to him. All right, now the fields have grown. As you can see, he's obviously a priest of foe. And now I can tend to those fields, because if you set a new field data via an effect, it's always ready to tend. So that's a nice, I don't know, oversight. It's not a bug. Maybe it's even intended. Okay, and we tended those. But we didn't write a new trigger. Yeah. So as you can see, we can already talk to him. Okay. And the fields are again untended. And that's the magic of that. So you can always test your stuff, and if you are stuck again, go to your restart tool tile and everything's good. Alright, back to the mission ruler. Almost done here. Okay, now we need to create a new trigger, but not at Farmer Joe actually. I need to manage missions, create new trigger. This is T-Farm 50. And again, it will trigger from 50 to 58. Because again, 4% per field, right? And we are using action performed tend, or was it farm? Farm is the action for that. Create the trigger. That's that. And we clone the trigger. That's T-Farm 52. But it's the wrong field. First move on, then trigger. Eventually. So T-Farm 50. Oh, we already had that trigger. So as you can see, you can also call these triggers with the same name because they have a unique ID. But please don't do as I do. Give them good names. Keep your head and your concentration high. I'm gonna edit that. Farm, T-Farm 50 farm. There you go. That's that. And we are going to update this trigger. That's now on this field. So I'll go back to this field. T-Farm 50 farm. Again, clone it. That's farm 2. Uses this field here. And create that trigger. Update trigger, go back. So there you can see the coordinates. So the mission builder is quite nice. You can actually see all the info that's important, and that's rare. Sometimes I feel the tools to build something as a GM in Wurm are better made than the tools the player has, which kind of makes sense in a way. Alright, and I cloned that. Okay, T farm 53, 50 farm 2. Okay, we've got that. And now we need an effect again. But hey, we already have a similar effect. Remember, we've got the e-sewing effect, which just ups the mission by 4% and does nothing else. Right? So now again, you could say, hey, I want to save effects because I want my effect list to be short. So you would just apply the e-sewing effect to the trigger. So you can link it to multiple triggers again. But I want to do a little bit more RP exercise here, just so you maybe get a feeling for how to build a mission. So we go back, list trigger here, and we go into the trigger and create a new effect. And this is called eFarm 50 farm. And this time I'm just gonna say mission state effect learn to farm 4%, but this time I'll also give it a pop-up and say you tend to the field. It looks nicer after you're tending, or something like that, just to give the player a feedback. Okay, something happened. Right, and we had that sound mapping earlier, so we go back. I don't know, was it this other? It was other, I guess. Yeah, pick break. There we go, and we create that effect. Right, and we link that to T farm 50 farm, T farm 50 farm 2, and T farm 50 farm 3. So as you can see, you can link an effect to a trigger in the trigger menu, but you can also do it in the effect menu. That's vice versa. Okay, depending on if you want an effect to be on multiple triggers or one trigger to have multiple effects. So we updated the effect, and now we see our trigger here, and this is T farm 50 farm 2, and of course it only has this one effect. Okay, so we update that trigger. Now let's try it out. We're sitting at 50, and I'm gonna tend to that field again. And that didn't work. Okay, so I need to check what happened. Manage mission. List triggers. We've got T50 farm 2. We've got that. We got E farm with a state plus 4 and a pop-up and a sound. Ah, can you spot the error? We didn't have a trigger mission set. Well, that happens. So I guess it would have worked without active item. Up here. I guess that is basically a blacklist, so you just say iron rake, and if you say none and just farm, then it just checks if the player did the action farm. Okay, yeah. No, that's this quest. So again, as you can see, I'm not the most focused guy in the world. But you need to keep your focus high if you want to build missions. Okay. Learn to farm. There we go. Again, talk. Yep, I did not tend to the fields yet. Alright, it's back untended. Now it works. There you go. You tend to the field, looks nicer. 58%. 62. There we go. And now, even if another crop ticks rolls around or something like that, I won't get any more quest progress from tending to those fields. So if you're doing a farming quest to stay in line of what we are doing here, you could technically make a huge field, right? Or it's a huge player planted field, but you see how many triggers that could be. So yeah, when building quests, I like to just build everything locally, what I need for the quest. Okay, next up, talking. Does not work anymore. Very good. So we do a new trigger. T farm 62. There it is. And we are using no item and we are talking to the guy. And we are triggering a mission and 62% only. I'll have that paranoia that I need to use that, but a trigger effect triggers are not started. State is 2 is only valid if greater than the from. Leave 2 as 00 if not required, but again I am a little paranoid on that regard. Create a new effect. eFarm 62. And we need no reward item, but we need to modify the tiles to be ripe, and that was 69 plus 16, so that was 85 if I remember correctly. But first we will do our player feedback. So learn to farm, state change, I would pull it up to 75, so 13%. So it's a nice scale. I don't know if players would notice that, but you could technically have your mission go up to 50 and then after 50 suddenly it's finished. But I like to get a nice progress into the mission. That's why I'm also trying to scale it. But that's again up to you. Welcome back. You did a good job out there. Maybe it's time to rake in the fruit of your work. See what I did there? Go back to the fields and harvest them for me. Harvest them for me. Give me a pumpkin, or maybe give me 3 pumpkins and keep the rest for your hard work. Come back to me and give me a pumpkin when you are done harvesting. So again, feedback, okay, you did good job. Then instructions, and then instruction how to trigger the next thing is what I like to do. Okay, so we got that effect. And we'll just update that. So we go back to next window and then we can link it to here. Okay, so you know, we've got the effects that turn the farms into the pumpkin fields. So we can clone from that, right? We just need to do eFarm 22.1 and we know it was on the x-axis. So I'll just clone that effect and call it eFarm 62.1 and do field data and say 85 and create that effect. So now I've made my 62.1 effect. I'm gonna clone from that. That's then the 2. Again, it's field data here, and it's 9998, I think, because that was on the x-axis. No mission state, so that's pretty easy to clone. And the next one, clone this one again. 39996. No, that's not right. 7. And again, don't forget the field state. And create that effect. Okay. So that works. That's the 3. That's the 2. That's the 1. And that was the original from where we started cloning. Okay, now we go back to our triggers. And we are still at the target Farmer Joe. That's why Farmer Joe is blue. Blue is always telling you which target you're at. So we go to that trigger. And we just link 62.1, 62.2 and 62.3. And then we update the trigger. Alright, let's test it. Talk to Farmer Joe here. Boom. Did a good job out there. Maybe it's time to rake in there. And the fields are. But you saw one thing. And I want to show it to you again. That's why I'm going to make a new trigger here. I'll clone that trigger. 75. Create trigger. And I'll give it I'll give it new effect just to show you another quirk. Farm 75. So nothing, just a pop-up. Hey, and now we need a very long text. Maybe lorem ipsum or something like that. I don't know. 100 words? Let's say 30 words. Okay, put that in here. And then we create that effect and link that to that trigger. And now observe. You see the text sometimes just cuts off because there's no line feeds or something like that. That means if you have a long text, you can always, if you go to the effect menu, let's see, there's a pop-up, this one. You can preview that pop-up, verify pop-up. See? Yeah, the player would have, that was the error. But again, the player might have to resize the window, but you can say, hey, okay, it's automatically 800 times 400, and then your pop-up automatically will be bigger, right? So you can do that, which is nice. To rake in, and now the text is missing. What the hell? We did write something. We did write this, but it only is Unicode, so no special characters in here. So fruit of your work. See what I did there. Come back to and give me a pumpkin if you are done harvesting. So yeah, there will be no error messages. The form will just close, and if you made some formatting error like that text, it'll just be cut off. That is a quirk again of the mission ruler. Again, same thing. If you clone something, the type automatically becomes none, even if it was field. So yeah, keep your heads up all the time. Always do it like here. Try to do the trigger yourself. Okay, now we updated the effect. Can talk. Okay, and that works. Okay. So this time I said the player needs to harvest those fields. And also, you know, Farmer Joe magically made them ripe. So now we are going to harvest those. Let's see how many pumpkins we get. 1, right? We can try to tend that. I'm not very good at farming. So as you can see, Farmer Joe is a little bit greedy. Ah, okay, there we go. Got 2 from that. Maybe from the tending. He's a little bit greedy. So yeah, the quest said to give him 3 pumpkins. Right? It's your decision how much pumpkin the player can keep. But keep that in mind, that if you build quests and it's a harvest quest or maybe a loot drop from an animal, to give the player anything that they can keep or later do it via reward, I don't know. But I like to build my quests so that players get items during making those quests, and then they get to keep something. For example, I have a cooking quest where you have to make pancakes, and if you do make pancake mix, you get more than 1 pancake from it, so they can keep the pancake. Something like that. Because the reward menu is an entire new can of worms by itself, which we will gloss over in the next video, where I show you how to edit triggers and mission effects via changing things in the database, because sometimes that's needed. Anyway, let's finish those quests. We need a new trigger again, and this is gonna be a new trigger, and this time item used pumpkin, because we need to, you know, make sure that player doesn't give just their junk to the farmer. That would be mean. On action performed, give at 75, and again, you know me, it's 4%, so 75 plus 8 is 83, and it triggers the mission learn to farm. Okay, and of course we need a name, T farm 75 2, or I don't know, give pumpkin. So we got that, and now we need an effect, and this is E farm 75 give pumpkin, and then we say, hey, mission affected, learn to farm, state change 4, sound mapping, filter other, apply filter, pick break, just so you know, repetition to learn how it works. And then we say, okay, another pop-up. Good work. Thank you for the pumpkin. Please give me another one. And since the player have to give 3 pumpkins to the character, we need to be careful here, so that this is only doable twice, because the text will change after the 3rd pumpkin, right? So we need to create that effect first and link it to the trigger, T farm give pumpkin. But again, so I'll set that to 79 and we'll see what can happen. Okay, update trigger. I have my pumpkins here. Give. Thank you for the pumpkin. And now that triggered twice. and we are immediately at 83%. This is a little bit weird. I encountered that bug, and I don't know what to do, how to fix it, but if the game decides to do that, it does that. So again, list triggers 75. See here, we only have that effect once. Yeah, I don't know how we can get around that. You can get around that by either doing the effect without a pop-up and have then give the effect only half of its mission state plus. So instead, if you say you want to give it 4, just say give it 2. Yeah. Again, your decision how to work around. I did not expect to run into this bug during building this mission, but again, there's that bug. So keep in mind, apparently, when giving something to quest givers, it counts as double. And I can't tell you why. You could also make just 3 separate triggers here to just say, okay, you trigger from 75 to 79 like it did. And this was just 1 pumpkin. So we make a new trigger with this effect that says, hey, okay, so we can do that. Give pumpkin 2, create the trigger, have then give pumpkin, link that effect. So we got that, update that trigger, so we can move on. Oh, now we have 2 give options. That's weird. Okay, that did not do anything. And that did not do anything as well. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, I just cloned it. Okay, my fault. 83. And we leave that free. So it just triggers once. Can always spawn new pumpkins. So I think it doesn't matter which give option you take. Thank you for the C. And this is just 1 message now. So maybe if you're doing give triggers, just don't give them the opportunity to trigger twice. Or they will. Alright. And that triggered as well. And now we need to manage missions again. And that was the 2nd pumpkin we gave him. So now we need a new trigger. Or maybe I want to change that other one. I'll set that to 79. I'll just set it to 70 to 75. Update that. And this is just 79, right? And the next trigger will be at, so we clone that, at 83. So that pumpkin 83. Learn to farm. Okay, it's a new trigger, and for that we need a new effect, and this is E farm 83 or last pumpkin. Your decision. Mission state affected. Learn to farm. And now we say, okay, that is the end of the mission, so we'll give it a 17%. I like to use the spawn central sound, I think. Yeah, this is my quest finish sound. Take from that what you want. And then we just say pop up, well done. Are you sure you don't want to stay at our farm. I could need another hand on the field, something like that. Keep the pumpkins you have gathered so far. And as a prize, keep that rake and put it to good use. And then depending if you're made a weekly mission or something like that, you can say come back later if you want to help out again. So in this case, in my case, players could earn a quality 20 rake. You could set it that again they get another reward, like give a reward item, and then you can just say coin, but you need to look at what coin it is. So you need to probably look, is it copper? Coin copper, that is a problem. That is a list and you cannot filter it. I'll take a look at silver. No, it's not silver. Cauldron, charcoal, corn. Well, there's no coin in here. Sometimes coins are missing as well, but that's then something for the next video. You can still edit that in the database. Maybe we'll find it next time then in the database, but you can technically say reward item and it's coin, and then you say the material. So everything's good. I'm just gonna don't give any money. I just wanted to show you that you can give money, but apparently you can only if you want to edit the database. Okay, so we create that effect. Right, and then we link that to that trigger. And then we go e-farm last pumpkin. Again, I am now due to the bug at 87%, so if you want to do that, you can always say, okay, it's the last trigger, so you can trigger it from 83 to 99. So that, I'm gonna summon a pumpkin. Pumpkin. There, one. And then we'll give that. Well, god damn it. That dude, he will walk out with so many pumpkins. Alright, one more pumpkin. And I'll take another look at the mission if I did something wrong. Give pumpkin 3. Learn to farm. Pumpkin give. Farmer Joe. 83 to 99. Has no effect though. Okay. And then, of course, now it would give 17%. That will overfill this mission, but again, the game does not care, so we are lucky on that. So, okay, get that. Well done. Okay, there we go. We've done the mission. Alright. That would be a basic farming mission, and it took us about 90 minutes. but hey, that's that. I'm gonna cut the material down to, yeah, hopefully a little shorter. I'm gonna test this mission now real quick, and I'll maybe again do a jump cut, and I'll see you on the other side. But after building a mission, you always should test it from the start. And since we set it to restartable, I can just go. You need to activate any item and then just talk. Okay, and now I can go. I have another rake. And the fields are barren again because we harvested those. Again, we told the player if there's anything on the fields, please cultivate them. You can, now that you know that you can alter tile data, you can of course at any time say, okay, it's a dirt tile, right? Just go tiles and then set it to dirt and everything's fine. But again, with a rake, see, maybe you should do that on your mission because I cannot cultivate that with a rake if it's sown. I think with a shovel it's possible, but then again, it's your mission. So see, that's now a point that I found out while testing the mission again. If there's already something on the field, well, you can use the rake to harvest and it's barren again, so meh. But it's basically your job then to tell the player either to harvest so it's barren and you sow your stuff in, or yeah, whatever, flatten the tile, or you do the tile changing magics and just change it over to dirt. Just try and break your own mission as much as possible. Okay, now I've got 22% here, so I can talk to him again. Again, it's another point to tell your players you need an item active so the talk option shows up. Okay, now he used his magic foe and powers here to have the field back to shape. That works. Also nice sound feedback again. Give myself a little pat on the shoulder here. Okay, see? I have edited that window and now the text is here. Normally the window would be this size. I think the text will automatically line feed based on the size, but it's always good to make a little bigger. Okay, pumpkins are ripe by magic. Again, here you can cheat the quest a little bit by tending it once more and then harvesting. You will get 2 pumpkins per field, or if you already have a high farming skill, you will of course get more yield from the get-go. Okay, got 5 pumpkins now. Now let's see how that works. Alright. This still triggers twice. Well, goddammit. But it's okay. Now the mission's done. That is another little bug I need to fix for that mission. Just go back to the trigger here. The first gift trigger. And I only triggered it 75 to 00, as you can see, but it's still triggered twice for whatever reason. Game reason. Yeah, so I'll just go ahead and change the state change to 2 here on that. Maybe it is because that look at that. We have T-Farm Give Pumpkin and T-Farm Give Pumpkin 2. They both have the same effect, but the game is practically too slow. So if I make another effect for that, give pumpkin, this is 1, right? And now I'll just clone that effect and I'll call it give pumpkin 2. Create that effect. Go back to those triggers. So that's the trigger give pumpkin. And it's farm give pumpkin. And then we have another trigger, farm give pumpkin 2, and that now will get its own effect, give pumpkin 2. And unlink the first one, maybe that's the reason. A little bit live troubleshooting. Alright. Of course now the mission is done. So start the mission again. Well, I think I will actually leave that in, even if the video now is probably 2 hours long. But it is kind of important that you can see how it all works, how to troubleshoot. I'll probably make some YouTube sections for that video so you can navigate and put some timestamps in the description, and then you can go where you want and see which information was unclear for you. I thought I could make a shorter video, but well, there we go. Now I've got 3 rakes and I'm about to die with my GM jar here. Alright. Whoop. Careful here. Okay. You got that. Hello. Okay. So I get the feeling that the Farmer Joe is actually faux just mocking me because I am a Libylan, but hey. Now let's see if it bugs out again. We are at 75%. I'm gonna check that effect again. 75 and 79. Let's see. Should be possible. Nope. Still 2 windows. I don't know why. Maybe some of you will find out what that is about. I mean, there is 2 GIF options here. Maybe that's the problem. Let's see. Triggers. I mean, there is that talk option at 75. Give pumpkin. There's only that. Give pumpkin. And then it brings it forward. Maybe because it's the same action. Maybe because it's the same trigger. Because it's both giving a pumpkin. But yeah. So that would then be a bug. That you maybe just let your players click on the OK button twice, I don't know. Or do it different, like say, hey, give me 1 pumpkin and it's good, or. That's for you to try out. I'm just here to show you how to build a mission. Okay, so we give him the last pumpkin. Alright, and there we go. And that's that mission. So far, technically it works. I need to find out why it does work on the last pumpkin. Maybe because afterwards the mission is finished. Otherwise it probably would have just done a double pop-up as well. If that, you can test it. Build, do another talk thingy as a mission final trigger. And maybe then it will even do it on the second pumpkin. I don't know. We'll have to see. You could, to prevent that problem now, you could just say, okay, go harvest that field and then make it trigger over here and say, okay, item used rake, and then the action is harvest, so you link it to the harvest action and say, okay, harvest those fields, and then the mission's done. Keep whatever you harvested. That would be an easy way around that error. Yeah, so the good thing about Wurm is you have a lot of options. Okay, and as a final thing, never forget to delete your restart triggers. Maybe not delete them, but put them to inactive, then they will appear in red, so that means nothing can happen here. And of course, don't forget, if it's a one-time mission, like this learn to farm is a tutorial mission intended just to be done once or maybe daily, but tick off that may restart when finished, or otherwise people can always restart the mission, always get the rewards, then update the mission, and then you're good to go. Alright, now that mission is done here, and as you can see, if I talk to that guy, nothing happens, right? Because it's not restartable. Still the talk mission will appear, so the player knows, okay, there is kind of a mission with that NPC, but they don't know how to trigger it, or maybe they already finished it. Alright, so that's it for that video. That was quite long. I again will put timestamps and chapters to the YouTube scroll bar, so you can pick out the informations you want, or maybe go over another topic again. I'll try to cut it a little bit down. We are sitting at 1 hour 47 minutes. And the next mission, yeah, the next video, I'll show you how to give mission rewards that are not in the list. Like, for example, the coins weren't in the list. So how do you give the player coins? And there's also skill rewards, so we will go over the mission rewards and how to maybe alter that in the database. You can also alter mission triggers via the database. So yeah, that would be the most advanced I guess mission making technique. You still need to do the triggers in game, but then you can do whatever you want with the triggers by changing them in the database. Of course, changing your database always is risky, so if you don't know what you're doing, maybe just stick to what you've learned here and always back up your database, but more on that on next video. Alright, I hope you learned something and you had a little bit fun when playing along at home. If you have any questions, can always hit me up on Discord. I'm sitting around in the modding Discord, and of course you can always DM me. And yeah, of course you can also write a comment if you have anything to say or any tips. Maybe you know how to circumvent that bug. Write a comment, let me know. And again, thank you, Emma, for showing me around, showing me the ropes on how to do missions. Yeah, and then I guess that's it. I see you in the next video. Bye.